to Truth or Politics. I'm your host, Darlene Price, and tonight we have a special report on the hearing that happened today. It was an exculpatory evidence hearing by two defense attorneys who filed wanting to know more about this missing evidence in the Pulaski County Sheriff's evidence locker. Or not in the evidence locker, I should say. Let's go back and do a little bit of history on this. We covered this. And first off, I almost forgot. Thank you for joining us. We want to thank MBR TV, who will be running this later. We're filming this. They're not watching it live. You guys are watching it live. MBR TV, thank you for everything you do for us. We want to thank Michael Mann. We want to thank everybody behind the scenes for making Truth or Politics happen, and our team up in Pulaski County who's working hard to continue this investigation. Okay, so what happened was, we covered this in a previous show. Go to the Truth or Politics Facebook pages and scroll down, and you'll see the documents that we posted and the show that we did based on those documents. Okay, what happened was, several weeks ago, we got information from a confidential source that our information from some of the sources were that it was $30,000 in missing evidence from the Pulaski County evidence locker. We also got information that they had this account, this evidence account, and the evidence may have been missing from this account. And the question was, well, who has access to this account? So, Truth or Politics, we hit the Pulaski County Sheriff's Department, and I think another department, maybe the prosecutor's office, with an open records request regarding this investigation. Of course, they came back and said, no, it's under investigation and we're not giving you anything, which, you know, is what they usually do. Okay, however, the sheriff did give a very limited report to the Commonwealth Journal. And in his thing, he said it was 20,000 missing. It was missing from the evidence locker, blah, 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 blah. We covered that. So what happened is there's a case. I'm not going to get into the criminal case. There's a case where I think it was a robbery. The two defendants are accused of a robbery. So, and some other charges. The defense attorney's on this because this case may have somehow been involved with evidence. Anytime you got evidence missing, there's a question about, you know, is something wrong with the evidence room or evidence locker with the police department? That affects a lot of cases, or they can affect a lot of cases. Defense attorneys have a right to know and should be notified when that happens, because that's what's called under law exculpatory evidence. Because they get to put the cops on the stand in their trial, in their criminal trial, and cross-examine these cops. And if these cops have been micking around with evidence, making evidence disappear, changing evidence, anything these cops have been doing about the evidence, the defense has a right to know that and have that information before their trial, criminal trial, to then cross-examine these police officers. So these defense attorneys filed for a motion for a hearing for, you know, hey, what's going on with this? Okay, so I'm going to go through some of the stuff that happened today, and then we'll talk about it even more. First off, now keep these dates in mind. The evidence was noticed missing in November 2020. What happened was the evidence custodian and the state police officer today used the word resigned. Okay, we still don't know what that's about. Okay, so the evidence custodian, Pulaski County evidence, resigned, and then they did an audit, an internal audit. In November 2020, they found that there was a discrepancy. So the Pulaski County sheriffs made them do another audit, and we covered this on the previous show. All right, so they did a second audit, and sure enough, money was missing. And according to the state police detective today, you know, he was asked, and I'll get into that later, you know, was there any other evidence missing? Oh yeah, everything was fine. Well, guess who does the audit? The Pulaski County sheriffs. So that really, I found one of the things that was shocking today is the police get to police themselves. So, you know, how, I don't know, how reliable was that? So the sheriff of Pulaski County, he did do the right thing. I think he took too long, and any investigation time, you let time lapse. You know, things happen. You know, in any investigation, especially an investigation like this, You should not wait several months. And what happened was he ordered a second audit, and then he didn't report it until February 2021 to the state police. He sent a letter to the state police. And if you go on our previous show regarding this, you can see that letter for yourself. We posted it. And in February 2021, this Pulaski County Sheriff, he's the outgoing sheriff, he's retiring. He asked the state police to come and investigate. Now, this is February 2021. Okay, today is almost, what, a year and a half, more than a year and a half, right? Almost 2 years later, we're still investigating this, the state police. So, here's the players involved. First of all, the detective that was from the Kentucky State Police that was on the stand today, this detective is in charge of investigating this missing money from the Pulaski County Sheriff. His name is Michael Keaton. Again, he's a state police investigator. The judge today was Teresa Whitaker. I want to say this about Teresa Whitaker today, the judge, and how she handled this. I was for those of you who are new that don't know, who is this woman? I was a criminal investigator for a lot of years, and then I went to work for the defense, and I do investigations for different defense attorneys now. And I gotta say, I've spent a lot of time in a courtroom with a lot of judges, and it's been my experience that most judges lean pro-prosecution. And, that was great while I was playing for the prosecution. But if you're a defendant and you're innocent especially, that's not good. I want to say Teresa Whitaker did probably one of the fairest evidence hearings today I've ever seen. Most, and I think I'm being fair, this is a fair statement, most judges would have thrown this hearing out. They would have said, nope, still under investigation, blah, blah, blah. There's no reason to have this hearing today. And they probably would not have let these defense attorneys fire the questions that they did with reporters sitting there. And Teresa Whitaker did that. That was first off, that's the right thing to do, to have an open hearing. And these defense attorneys absolutely did have the right to ask these questions and have them answered. So kudos to Teresa Whitaker. I thought she did a really, really good, very fair job today in this hearing. Okay, so the defense attorneys, whoops, sorry about that. The defense attorneys, and this was the case, I think I got it right, was 21 DI-140. This is the criminal case that the defense attorneys are looking at this missing evidence or problems in the evidence room as a defense for their defendants in the criminal case. Okay, the two defense attorneys were Jeremy Bartley and Jerry Wright. They are the ones that filed, in fact, I think Jerry Wright's the one that filed the motion for the hearing on exculpatory evidence. That motion was a very interesting motion. Go to our previous show on this. We actually posted the actual motion for this hearing, and it tells the story pretty good. Present today for the Commonwealth, for the prosecution, was David Dalton. Now, David Dalton is the Commonwealth attorney for Pulaski County. He's going to be the criminal attorney against the defendants, against Jeremy Bartley and Jerry Wright on the criminal case. However, they have brought in a special prosecutor for the investigation of the missing money. So I hope I haven't confused you. There's two cases. There's a criminal case that the two defense attorneys that filed for this hearing today, there's that case, okay? Then there's a case on evidence missing from the evidence room, okay? So David Dalton is the prosecutor, the Commonwealth attorney for the criminal case. The special prosecutor for the missing money, if something ever does get prosecuted, okay, is a Jackie Steele. He was not present today, but David Dalton was. David Dalton's, I'm sure he's had tunnel vision, as he probably should have, that, his interest is prosecuting his criminal case. And he flat out said 2 or 3 times, look, I don't know what's going on here either. This is not my case. It's Jackie Steele's case. And my question is, special prosecutor, why wasn't he there? I don't know why he was not there. He should have been there, in my opinion. But anyways, moving right along here. So it came out today that it was $25,000 missing. That's the testimony of the KSP investigator. Not $20,000 like other people put out publicly. It's $25,000. And the missing case, here's the shocking part. One of the many shocking parts to this. This missing money involves 17 criminal cases. 17 criminal cases. Many of them have already pled out. Some of them have been dismissed. And some of them have already gone to trial. That's just, to me, shocking that this can involve 17 criminal cases. 17 cases and no one bothered. Here's the other thing that came out. This is the first time these two defense attorneys, only a couple weeks ago found out about this through the grapevine, because nobody notified any defense attorneys, and not on these other 17 cases either, these 17 cases. No one bothered to notify any of the defense attorneys on any of these cases. If it weren't for the open records request and the leak to the media, these defense attorneys probably wouldn't know about this, okay? So the defense would not know about this. Okay, folks, that's a huge deal. Okay, if you're a defendant and your case may, one part of your defense could be the Pulaski County Sheriff's Department is, they're corrupt, or somebody's stealing, or somebody's altering evidence, and that's part of your defense. And this is happening, and no one notifies your defense attorneys about this. This is what's called exculpatory evidence. These defense attorneys had the right to know about this. Somebody should have notified these, especially these 17 cases. Somebody should have notified these defense attorneys. And you can bet, I'm going to make a prediction, an easy one. Every defense attorney involved in these 17 cases is going to be filing for I want answers. How did this affect my case? As they rightfully should. If you're going to be a defense attorney, it's your job, it's your duty in the justice system to, pursue every avenue to defend your client. Because guess what, folks? Not all clients are guilty, okay? I know a lot of them are. Again, I used to play for prosecution, but if you're the innocent client, if you're the innocent defendant, and this is one of your cases, then this is a big deal. And it's a big deal anywhere. The saying, I'm trying to remember who said this. It may have been Martin Luther King. It was Martin Luther King. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So the failure to make that notification, somebody should fry for that. That just amazes me. Okay, what also came out, which I found jaw-dropping, is there were no audits, even by the Pulaski County Sheriff's Department, on the Pulaski County Sheriff's Department, which I find amazing that there's no outside agency, nobody outside, nobody objective has been auditing the Pulaski County Sheriff's, and there were no audits from 2015 to 2020. Let me repeat that. Nobody looked at the Pulaski County Sheriff's evidence procedures or anything about them from 2015 to 2020. Says so the Kentucky State Police today. And I couldn't believe I was hearing this. I had a colleague who was kind of listening to this too, and I'm like, I literally called them and I said, did I hear that right? And because I just, to me, a lot of this information that you're hearing is shocking, and I thought, surely I didn't hear that right. And no police department should be ever allowed, A, to audit themselves only, B, to have no audits for 5 years, and once evidence is found missing, to then their second audit get to be themselves again. I mean, that's just no. That's just wrong. Okay. So I'm going to run through some of the questions that were asked. Very good questions by these defense attorneys. I thought the defense attorneys for their criminal clients, or criminal, not just saying criminal clients, innocent to proven guilty, but for their clients, really did a good job of line of questioning for the state police officer. And again, kudos to Teresa Whitaker. I'm telling you, folks, a lot of judges, some of them prior judges from Pulaski County, they would have shut this down. They would have played for the prosecution. And that's wrong, okay? Teresa Whitaker did her job today and did a good job. And I just want to say that because, I hate to say it's rare, but, there's a lot of good judges out there. There are some that are not, okay? And just when the judge does the right thing, You know, that's just as important to shine a light on somebody doing something right as somebody doing something wrong. Okay. Question. Here's the questions, and I'm going to give you the answers that the state police. This is Michael Keaton from the Kentucky State Police investigator who was investigating the 25 grand missing. He is not investigating the criminal case from these two defense attorneys, okay? Let me repeat that. He is the state police investigator. He was under oath today and getting questions. He is investigating the evidence problem at the Pulaski County Sheriff's. Okay, question. How many years does our case involve? Meaning the criminal case. How many years is this involved? And he said the answer was 2015 to 2018. So these 17 other cases range from 2015 to 2018. So from 2015 to 2018, there's a problem. And nobody's auditing. Nobody's looking at anything. Then a question. What gave rise to this investigation? His answer. In 2020, had an evidence clerk resign. And he did use the word resign. Okay, and then they did an audit and found a discrepancy. So they did a second audit. They being the Pulaski County Sheriff auditing themselves. And the second audit verified this. Okay, so next question. Question. Is Cody Cundiff involved in this investigation? Answer. I wouldn't call him a suspect at this time. Question. Were officers Matt Bryant, Joey Johnson, Austin Swartz, and Brandon Patterson involved in your investigation? Answer. Not that I'm aware of. Question. Was this money logged into evidence? Answer. Yes. Question. Was there any chain of custody showing where the money went? Answer. No. Question. Anything as to what dates the money went missing? Answer. No. Nobody knows, it's like nobody knows where the money went. Not only that, they've been investigating this, that this got turned over to the state police, again, February 2021. They found it in 2020. And to this day, we don't have any dates of when the money went missing. That don't look good, okay? Question. Could it have gone missing prior to the audit? Answer. Yes. Question. Have you had an interview of Cody Cundiff? Answer. Yes. Question. Is Cody Cundiff a sheriff over the detectives? Answer. Yes. Question. When you interviewed him, did you take this interview? Answer. Yes. What was in that interview? Question. Answer. The state police officer, now he starts not answering questions. He says, I'm not going to answer that. This is an ongoing investigation. And that's pretty much from then on a lot of his answers. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Question. Have you interviewed the officers in charge of the evidence room and was it recorded? Answer. Yes. What was the question? What was the result of those interviews? I'm not going to answer that. It's an ongoing investigation. Question. Was any of this missing money returned? Now, pay close attention to this line of questioning because this blew my mind. Answer. The Sheriff's Department filed an insurance claim, which, oh, by the way, we're going to hit them with an open records request on this insurance claim, okay? And so the insurance basically paid the Sheriff's Department for the missing money. Okay, question. Was any other evidence other than money missing? Answer. Pay attention to this. The audit revealed that everything checked out. Oh, you mean the audit where the Pulaski County Sheriff's Department gets to audit themselves and nobody else is looking at it? Question. How was the money stored? Answer. It is either processed and placed in an account or placed into and kept in the evidence locker. Question. Are these officers still working there? Answer. Some are and some have retired. Question. Who did these audits? Answer. The Pulaski County Sheriff's internal audits. Question. How many officers had access to this evidence room? Answer. 4. Question. Evidence procedures, they start questioning about evidence procedures. Okay, now, and I'll explain his answer because it was confusing. Basically what he answered was this. An officer goes out and seizes, let's say, money and drugs. Okay, I'm going to use this as an example. A box of money and a box of drugs. Okay, he takes that box, he comes to the Pulaski County evidence room, and apparently there's like a wall there and then like a locker, and he opens up the door. Somebody, an evidence custodian, is on the other side. Okay, he puts this evidence through to the custodian, and then the custodian accepts the evidence. Okay, the problem with that is there's no, and through this next line of questioning, it became very apparent to me real quick, and to these defense attorneys, there's no check and balances here. Basically, and I'm going to go through these questions and answers, but basically what I got out of this, and again, I talked to my colleague and I'm like, did I hear that right? Because it just shocked me. A police officer can say, for example, write on a tag on the outside of this box, this metaphoric box, you know, hey, there's $1,000 in there. He puts it through. Nobody is checking to see if there's $1,000 in there. You know, not until they go to trial or something, I guess, or never. I don't know. But you know, as he answered these questions, it was apparent that nobody's doing that. Secondly, or the flip side of that, I put on there that there's, you know, I seized. I'm the cop. I went over here and then in this box I seized. You know, it was only $500 in here. Well, really, there was $1,000. If I'm a crooked cop, I take the $500 and pocket it, and I just put it to the evidence custodian. Nobody questions that. You know, there's no second and third person. And okay. When I was a federal agent, when we went in and did, let me explain how this should be done, and apparently is not being done according to the state police officer's testimony. I walk into a house. I got a search warrant, okay, and I've got 6 rooms in this house. I'm going to hopefully not be there by myself. No way should anybody ever conduct a search and seize evidence and not have a second or third person there, preferably a supervisor, okay? That should never happen. And if it's happening, it's just wrong. Especially, you know, Pulaski County Sheriff's Department is not small. There's not just five deputies up there. You know, there's a whole lot more, okay? Maybe in a department where there's 2 deputies or something, you know, even then, you know, a supervisor, the sheriff should come out, or somebody should come out and supervise this seizing of evidence, okay? So what should happen is, I go to each room and I put a sticky A, B, C, D. Every room has A, B, C, D. I assign, you know, this officer to A, this officer to B, this officer C, and D. Okay, but I'm the case agent. What should be happening is this officer, when this officer finds, all of a sudden he'll say, hey, come in here. I found a sawed-off shotgun and some dope. Okay, so I go in there. I make sure that that's photographed as is. Then when it's bagged and tagged, and there should be an evidence tag. On that evidence tag should be a complete description of what's in that box of evidence, or what it is you're seizing. And it should have more than at least two signatures or initials that these people are in agreement that it is a sawed-off shotgun and some dope in this box. Okay? So you got verification there of what's in there. Right? Then it goes to the evidence locker, and then the evidence custodian should also verify, yeah, that's what's in this box. What you 2 guys are saying is in this box, okay? That's how that should work. And apparently, that's just not being done. You know, I guess a cop in Pulaski County can go out to a scene, pull somebody over, do whatever it is, and seize evidence, and there's no real check and balance system. Maybe at least not every time. And that's pretty scary, actually. Because if you do have, look, and before you start, you know, hey, back the blue and everything, you know, don't, for the people who just been on me about this, look, I was the blue. My brother was the blue. You know, police officers are the reason I'm alive here today. Nobody backs the blue more than me. But you know who hates dishonest cops who steal? Good cops, okay? It runs it for all of us. So if you want to back the blue, then that means you got to hold accountable bad cops. You just have to, okay? So let me just address that up front, because the other shows that we've done on this, needless to say, we've gotten some comments about, oh, all you do is, not back the blue, which is just bull crap, okay? If it's your butt that's being pulled over and a cop's stealing from you or manufacturing evidence, which I have investigated cases where I've caught cops lying under oath, lying in front of a grand jury, if that's you and you're innocent, you're going to be better bet we need to expose this stuff. We don't need to have this kind of thing in law enforcement, okay? We just don't. Okay, so where was I? How many officers had access to this evidence room? 4. Evidence procedures, and he asked about them, and then he explained their evidence procedures, okay? Which really did not sound good. Okay, now this is the state police officer testifying. Question: is it possible that money went missing and never made it to the other side of the wall? Answer: yes. Well, no kidding. I guess so. If you got no check and balances out there, that could happen. Question: were there some issues about evidence other than missing money? Answer: yes, one incident. Well, that you know of, Question: when do you think this investigation will be finished? Answer: no way to tell. Soon, I hope. Okay, and so then the arguments, of course, from the defense went back and forth, arguing, that, hey, we should have access to all of this evidence. We should have access to this report. This was discovered in November 2020, reported in 21. Here we are. This is 2022, almost October 2022. This is just not cool. What Teresa Whitaker did also that was right is, needless to say, the prosecution on the criminal case, David Dalton on the criminal case, needless to say, he wants this to go to trial. Because if you're a prosecutor, you may be concerned that the cops they're going to put on the stand, this report might reveal something about these cops, which is going to affect your criminal case. So, but Teresa Whitaker did the right thing. She put it out to October 2023. Now, if you can't finish an investigation, hey, and let me talk about this investigation too. And I know this sounds like, and I'm sure the cops are out there, that, especially this prosecutor and this, state police officers probably thinking, who's she to judge me? Okay, well, I do have a little bit of experience. First off, I worked on some of the most complicated money laundering cases and drug cases that you could ever imagine. We're talking millions of dollars, wiretaps, daily reports. We're talking federal cases with the task force. These were extremely complicated cases that often at times involved, criminals that were attorneys, telling the cartels how to structure money through land. These were very complicated cases. We were able to, in under 2 years, prosecute and go to trial with some incredibly complicated cases in under 2 years with multiple defendants. The fact that here we are, this was found in 2020, November 2020, and granted it wasn't turned over to police till February 2021. We're talking just under 2 years here. This is not a complicated case. These interviews should, one of the questions too, and I hope I didn't skip over it, was, did you interview these people? And some of the people he hasn't even interviewed yet. It's just like, when are you going to do this? I know the state police have a lot of investigations, and I know everybody thinks everything's important. But missing and stolen evidence, the potential that there may be some dirty cops in the Pulaski County, Sheriff's Department or the evidence locker, that should be a priority. I'm sorry, but that's real important, because we know for a fact, or at least the state trooper testified, it already affects 17 cases. 17, criminal cases have been affected by that. What if you're one of the people that got pressured into pleading guilty, and you pled guilty, and now you find this out? See what I'm saying? This just is not cool. So, that's what happened in today. I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss anything. We are going to do an open records request on the I asked for the audits. Here's another thing too. And I'm pretty sure I posted these open records requests. And the answer we got back from the Pulaski County Sheriff's is, this is under investigation. Well, when I asked for the audits, these audits are, as the state police officer said today, these were conducted by the Pulaski County Sheriffs. They were allowed to investigate themselves. This was paid for by taxpayers. Okay, that time and effort, that audit, is public record. Even the sheriff said, use the word public records. But then he said, we're not going to hand them over because it's part of an investigation. Well, that audit, those audits should be public right now. Right now. Those audits should have been turned over immediately to defense attorneys. The defense attorneys on this criminal case didn't even know about this till just a few weeks ago. And had they not done an open records request, nobody would have known about it. So this is just not cool. It has the appearance at this point of a cover-up. I'm not saying it's a cover-up, but it sure as heck don't look good. So we're going to stay on this, folks. I think it's important. There's some other cases. We're getting information fast and furious from confidential sources, involving maybe, some of these 17 other cases. And I just want to say this. The fact that the state police officer is just real comfortable with, no, nothing else to see here in any of these cases that don't involve money, that should not be a comfort zone that should set well with Mr. Keaton. Okay? Not at all. Not with these types of evidence procedures. Mr. Keaton needs to have another state investigator helping him. The state police at this point should absolutely assign another investigator, and they need to really, really look into this. And it needs to be done a little bit quicker, because you got defendants here, and some of them already pleading guilty that might be affected by this. And the defense has a right to this information. They had a right to it when it happened. They had a right to it. They had a right to notice. They got none. So that's not good. That don't look good. And that's where we're at right now, folks. And we appreciate you sticking with us on this special report. Again, sorry this was not a call-in show. For TV people, you are watching this later. You're going to be watching this later on. For the people watching it live, we want to thank you all. We will have another show in a couple of weeks, unless another special report happens and something happens. So we appreciate you guys watching. Keep watching, and we will keep you informed. We'll see you next time on Truth or Politics. Thanks.